For over a century, the medical consensus on sexual health has relied on a mechanical assumption. If the physical parts work, the patient is healthy. But observing basic function doesn't account for systems that suddenly seize up under unseen tension. In the 1920s, psychiatry was dominated by talk therapy. The standard practice was to treat neurosis almost entirely as an intellectual exercise, digging up repressed childhood memories and dissecting them until the mind finally understood its own trauma. Working right alongside Sigmund Freud was a young analyst named Wilhelm Reich. Reich spent years observing patients on the couch, and he eventually noticed a flaw in his mentor's purely psychological approach. Patients could spend hours tracing their anxiety back to its exact psychological root. They could explain their trauma perfectly, yet their actual physical symptoms, the panic attacks, the compulsions, remained untouched by this intellectual breakthrough. Reich started tracking the physical habits of his patients, paying close attention to cases like a waiter suffering from chronic impotence and a university student with severe obsessive-compulsive disorder. He documented a specific biological pattern. Whenever these patients managed to achieve a genuine physical release of sexual tension, their severe neurotic symptoms temporarily disappeared, and the inverse was predictably true. The moment that sexual tension began to accumulate in their bodies again, without a physical outlet, the anxiety and the compulsions returned. For Reich, these cases suggested that conversational therapy was overlooking a vital biological component. He concluded that the mind cannot be cured if the body's physical tension is ignored. Reich began to view mental illness not as a psychological ghost, but as a tangible physical problem caused by trapped biological energy. He viewed the nervous system as a hydraulic circuit where somatic energy must flow. Suppressing emotions builds rigid physical barriers, acting like a dam. This blocked flow creates a massive buildup of internal pressure. The trapped pressure mutates, becoming the active fuel powering anxiety, depression, and compulsions. It is exactly like a machine trying to run while the electrical current is blocked. The unexpressed biological energy does not simply fade away over time. It actively poisons the entire system from within. This brings us back to that illusion of mechanical health. A person might be completely capable of performing the physical act of sex, appearing functional on paper. But Reich introduced a much stricter clinical requirement, which he called orgasmic potency. This is the rare ability to drop every psychological and physical defense mechanism when you are with a trusted partner. The metric for this potency is absolute. It requires the total discharge of all accumulated bodily tension, leaving zero residual pressure behind. When Reich applied this standard, the data was consistent. Every neurotic patient he evaluated had lost this specific capacity for total energetic surrender. Flawless physical performance is often a mask for deep neurosis. According to Reich, if a patient lacks orgasmic potency, true health is impossible. This hydraulic understanding of the body changed the fundamental goal of the psychiatrist. Therapy had to move beyond analyzing childhood memories. The focus shifted to physically restoring the body's capacity to tolerate and release biological energy. This meant dismantling a patient's muscular and emotional armor, layer by layer. The goal was to allow the biological machine to function naturally again, free from the physical constraints of fear. Psychological insight is useless if the body remains a locked cage. The circuit must be completed for the machine to run. Eventually, Reich realized that his theory of neurosis was actually describing a framework for how all living organisms operate. He concluded that the physical cycle of building tension and achieving total discharge is identical to the biological life process itself. Real health, then, is found in two things: the courage to stand completely vulnerable and the physical capability to empty oneself entirely of tension. We are highly pressurized energetic systems,